Welcome to Iraqi Dinar Update, your go-to source for the latest news, expert insights, and real-time developments on Iraq's currency, economy, and financial reforms. Whether you're a long-time investor or just curious about the dinar, you're in the right place. Salaries and the ongoing 2025 budget negotiations in Iraq represent more than just a fiscal formality or a routine financial exercise. They are a fundamental cornerstone in a much broader strategy. What we are witnessing is not simply a debate over how to allocate funds for the coming fiscal year. Rather, it's a high-stakes, strategic alignment aimed at positioning Iraq for integration into the global financial system. This is an enormous and transformational move. Iraq's policymakers, economists, and international partners all recognize that without resolving these internal financial matters, particularly the budgetary allocations and the issue of delayed salaries, there can be no credible step forward into a modern economic structure that is open, transparent, and globally integrated. Let's start with the salaries themselves. The consistent delay in paying public sector workers, particularly in regions like the Kurdistan Regional Government, KRG, has been a thorn in Iraq's economic side for years. Salaries aren't just wages, they are social stabilizers. When people aren't paid for months, you don't just create unrest. You weaken the foundations of trust in government institutions. This has repercussions not only for civil service morale and efficiency, but for broader economic stability and investment attractiveness. Foreign investors, global banks, and international financial organizations like the IMF watch these internal mechanisms carefully. If Iraq can't pay its own employees on time, how can it manage more complex financial mechanisms required in a globally integrated system? Adding more context, the idea that the dinar has not been publicly displayed on Forex or Bloomberg in over 22 years is crucial. Iraq has been through monumental economic, political, and institutional rebuilding since the fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003. During that time, the dinar has largely remained a controlled currency, tightly managed by the CBI, with limited visibility or convertibility outside Iraq. Most global banks and trading institutions have not dealt in dinars because of sanctions, outdated banking systems, corruption, and lack of compliance with global standards like those of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, or the Financial Action Task Force, FATF. If Iraq is now displaying the dinar live on these global systems, it would imply that much of the back-end reform, technological, regulatory, and monetary, has already been completed or is nearing completion. A real effective exchange rate considers not just the nominal value of a currency, but adjusts it for inflation differentials and trade-weighted averages against a basket of foreign currencies. This metric is crucial because it tells us what a currency is really worth in terms of its purchasing power relative to others. And in Iraq's case, once the country starts settling more international trade in dinars instead of dollars, the market will naturally begin to price the currency more accurately. This is essential not only for transparency, but for attracting international investment, managing debt, and facilitating trade agreements that are settled in local currency. So here's the heart of the matter. Iraq cannot fully integrate into the global financial system while operating on a fixed or outdated exchange rate that doesn't reflect the true strength or potential strength of its economy. A real effective exchange rate is not just a financial number, it's a declaration of economic maturity. It's an invitation to global markets to trust and engage with Iraq on equal footing. And it signals to internal stakeholders, from ministries to banks to businesses, that the old systems are being replaced with something new, dynamic, and globally relevant. Many reforms that are already underway, such as the restriction on cash transactions, the promotion of digital payments, the banning of USD cash usage internally, and the push for card-based salary disbursement, all point toward a monetary environment that is preparing for a shift. These are not isolated measures. They are coordinated steps designed to bring more of the economy into the formal banking sector. Once that happens, it becomes easier for the Central Bank of Iraq, CBI, to measure money supply accurately, manage inflation, control liquidity, and implement monetary policy using more modern tools. But all of this also depends on having an exchange rate that reflects real supply and demand, not one artificially imposed or politically maintained. So when observers mention that Iraq is hammering out the 2025 budget, what they are really signaling is that the country is at a pivot point. There is now a sense of urgency, because this is not just a domestic financial plan, it's a gateway to the global financial arena. And to step through that gateway, Iraq must align its exchange rate policy with the expectations of the global community. That means a shift to a real effective exchange rate, likely involving a new public rate for the dinar that will better reflect the fundamentals of the economy. The signs are all there: Iraq's compliance with IMF recommendations, its participation in World Trade Organization accession processes, its expansion of SWIFT infrastructure, and its increasing coordination with regional banking systems. These are hallmarks of a country preparing to remove the final barriers that separate it from a fully open and competitive financial posture on the world stage. But perhaps the biggest clue lies in how meticulously they are preparing internally before any outward move is made. Salaries must be sorted, budget tables finalized, and fiscal discipline established. These are not small tasks. They are foundational. You cannot build a skyscraper on sand. Iraq is laying down concrete, reinforced with structural reform, legal alignment, and financial modernization. And when that groundwork is done, the world should expect a change in the exchange rate. Because at that point, it won't just be about economics, it will be about necessity. Iraq cannot function credibly in the global financial system with a non-transparent or outdated exchange rate. The shift to a real effective exchange rate will not be cosmetic. It will be the final puzzle piece in a reform process years in the making. In summary, the salary issue and the 2025 budget are more than just domestic problems to solve. They are prerequisites for Iraq's financial transformation. They represent the last hurdles before Iraq can officially claim its seat at the global financial table. And when that seat is taken, it must be done with a currency that speaks the truth, not just to Iraqis, but to the world. That truth is the real effective exchange rate, and it's coming. Not as a rumor, not as speculation, but as a necessary evolution in Iraq's emergence from isolation into full global economic participation. Thanks for tuning in to Iraqi Dinar Update. If you found this content helpful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a beat on Iraq's evolving financial landscape. Stay informed and stay ready.